here today with the principal from Godby, who's I think your third year at Godby now.
Third year, yes.
And you just keep getting tried with challenges. It's not the same just educating the students now. You've been to a lot of funerals lately.
I have too many. Been to 3 funerals in the last 10 months or so. One I just couldn't go to. I was out of town, but it would have been 4. So it's been a challenging time for our Godby community. It certainly has.
Well, one of the things that before we started, we talked about how much school and the kids have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I'm really happy about is the presence of our administrators
Mm-hmm.
now at events.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Insights doing the sports that we do, I see the principals. You're one of them. Is almost at every event, and you know, just really knowing and being with your kids.
I like to be around the kids as much as I possibly can. I like for them to see me outside of what my role would be from, say, 7 to 2 o'clock, and so if they can see me get excited about a basket that's being made or a level of competition that's being played between teams, I like for them to see that. That means they know that I'm real and I'm out there to support them, and I'm not necessarily trying to tell them to go to class, or we're not talking about grades, we're just talking about good, healthy competition. And I think it's good that they see that part of me and that part of us as administrators.
Does that help in case a situation arises? Because a lot of them arise at after school and events, but your presence, you know, is that a deterrent at all?
I think it is, because it helps us. I think it's part of the relationship building aspect of what we do on a daily basis. So yeah, I think it most certainly helps when we're able to step out in that box and do that. I think it certainly helps with the relationship building, and so if we have to have a conversation, well, we've been that farther up the road with the relationship building, and so hopefully the conversation will be a bit easier.
Let me go back. You talked about the funerals you've been to.
Yes.
Share with the audience a little bit what that is like for you to have to go through that with and deal with.
It's like somebody's taken their hand and reached into your chest and pulled a large segment of your heart away. When you lose a kid, especially in the manner in which that we're talking about right now, we're talking about gun violence, right? That's what we're talking about. And it hurts really, really bad. If I can go back and talk about Kobe Mathis, he died, I think it was sometime September of last year. So, you know, we're getting up to his 1-year anniversary. I was his elementary school, principal at Astoria Park. And we had a good relationship there. So fast forward to a couple of years ago when I got to Godby High School in 2017-18, I was able to reconnect with Kobe from back then. So we had
So you knew him in elementary?
I knew him. I was his principal. I was his principal for a couple of years. We had a tremendous relationship. So when I got that call, that oftentimes it's parents, but as principals, we are, quasi-parents, if you will. And I got that call that afternoon. And when I heard on the other end that one of our students may have been hit, and I got the name, I was like, no, say no. And that hurt real bad. Especially when you know you've developed a relationship with a child and their family over a period of time, and you've kind of been through a little bit of the ups and downs that the family has gone through, and suffered right along with them to a large degree. And that's tough. But while it's being tough, we have to manage. We have to fight the good fight. We have to keep preaching the message to the others who have been impacted. So we have to be strong. I have to be strong to make sure that, to try to ensure that some of this stuff just really doesn't happen again. And it's happened, multiple times since that time. But it's like you're getting a part of your heart, or a portion of your heart is really ripped out of your chest. And it hurts so bad, and it really impacts our community in a really awful way, a significant way.
Well, what is Godby doing to, and I know that you can't just walk in and say, stop doing this, but Sheriff McNeil, who's really active and supportive with a lot that we do in our Leadership Academy, says that he wanted us to get involved younger, like the middle schools. And in discussion with you, you said even the elementary schools.
We have to get into the elementary schools right now. That should be the focus. Yeah, middle schools are fine, but we need to get into the elementary schools and focus them in the middle there, so somewhere around 3rd grade and up. So maybe even 2nd grade, because that's where they're very impressionable at that age. Because some of the folks who are part of the gangs who are middle school or high school, they're going down into the lower levels to do a little bit of recruiting. I know that I shouldn't be saying that, but if I'm here to talk truthfully to you, I need to be. That's the truth. That's where a lot of recruiting is happening, and at the middle school for sure, right? Because they can be a little bit more mobile at the middle school. In the elementary school, they're still very dependent on their parents. But it's sad, isn't it? And I say that, but it's sad. But that's our current reality, and because that's our reality, we have to deal with it. So having that message, those messages occur, at the elementary school level is where I think the starting point is a great starting point.
I think you needed to say that because the first time you told me that, I was stunned, and you saying it again for us here allows other people to see that. What would a parent or grandmother or brother or big sister, what would they need to look for?
Oh gosh, so much.
With their kids, with them being that young,
mannerisms, the way that they're communicating, the way that they're dressing, the kind of colors. Colors are a big part. That signifies who your relationships are. If you're blue versus the red, that signifies 100% who you're with. So if they're wearing a lot of blue, or mom, let's go shopping, and all they're buying is red. That could be a telltale sign, because you want to represent your family, the quote unquote, because they're not necessarily your family. But that's what they're saying. You want to represent your family. What you're going to do, you're going to go out and buy clothing that's going to represent, and oftentimes it's going to be the same color. Almost all the time, it's going to be the same color. So those kind of things you can look for. But the behavior is going to change. A level of defiance is going to start happening. The love and the various way that they showed affection will now change, so that affection is not coming to you, especially at the elementary school or even early middle school. It's going someplace else. That love and affection and strong affiliation is going to another faction, which is oftentimes the gang culture and the gang life.
Is this specific, gender specific?
No, absolutely not. When you hear about gangs, you typically you're talking about the male persuasion, but no, girls are coming along and being a part of this. Just not as much, but they're a part of this problem as well.
Now, completely on the other side, we have some students that are really outstanding. That. I don't want to get lost in the negativity of what's going on, but we also have some students that you have that just seem almost light years ahead of us, just in terms of their ability to be able to grasp different concepts. I see the smile on your face. Share some of that.
Yeah, you say that, because I think we do spend too much time talking about the negative things, right? And so what we want to try to do is, I love the question. Appreciate you asking the question, because I want to spend some time talking about some of the amazing things that kids are doing, not just the Godby kids. I'm here, so I'm a bit partial to my Godby kids, but kids are doing a lot of great stuff. They're doing community service. They're being kind. They're making good grades. They're role models on our campus, off of our campus. They're good stewards in the community, at church. Let me give you an example of We had
Please.
a gun violence assembly today. Today. And we needed to target a group of kids because we only had a set amount of time, and we could only do it today, and we couldn't fit all of our kids in the auditorium. So we targeted 9th and 10th grade boys. Okay, and we had about good 40 to 45 minutes. And the group that came to speak with us, tremendous. Willie Simmons among them, superintendent led. We had lots of great people, but time ran out on us, right? And we were coming just up to the lunchtime. The bell rings. A good number of our kids went to lunch. They went to the cafeteria or left campus do their thing. We had about 40, 50 kids that stayed back to hear the other two speakers who did not get a chance. That speaks to the core of who we are. So that speaks to what a lot of our kids are doing that is good, that is right. I was so happy to report. I'm happy to report that to you. I was happy to report that to a couple of folks that weren't there to see that. They were excited to listen to the message that was not delivered because we had two speakers that did not speak, and they also stayed back to maybe ask some questions of some folks that did speak. Great day. It was a great day to be a Godby Cougar today. It really was. So when you ask me those questions about what our kids are doing, I do light up because we do spend a little bit too much time talking about the negativity where it needs to be talked about. But I also want to take a lot of my time to talk about some of our great kids and what they're doing, and that's the positive behavior that's happening here at Godby High School.
Well, you tell us about some of the programs that you've instituted since you've been here.
That I've done, I can't take credit for anything. I can just tell you, let me just speak for some of the great things that we're doing. We have a welding program that I'm just super proud of. That has happened within the last 3 years. We have a CNA program that's happening here. When our kids are done, they're able to really go out and be gainfully employed in that field. Our welders are ready, once they pass that certification test, they're actually ready to really go out and weld. We even have a student that was a senior last year who was a welder this year who had gone through our program and passed the certification test last year.
Well, that's significant because typically they usually go to Lively for that.
On our program is run through Lively, so our instructor is through Lively, and once they're properly vetted, they can go out and be gainfully employed and make as much as some educators are making. Yeah, it's been good. So that's just two of our programs. We just feel really good about all the great things that's happening at Godby High School. We just feel good about what we're doing.
What's your vision now?
My vision is to come to work every day and work really, really hard, and have our faculty and staff mimic that, which they do on a regular basis, and give kids our best effort every single day. And for the most part, that's going to be the same every day, but some days it's going to look a little different. But it's about the effort and the work ethic, and if we can do that, and kids can see that, then they're going to recognize that hard work is something that's not something that should be lost on anybody. We should continue to work hard on a daily basis. Parents, as I try to craft some words to share with you, I would tell you, don't allow your kids to grow up too fast. Elementary, they're young people. Middle school, they're still young people. Even at high school, they're still young people. Please be mindful of what they're doing, how they're doing it, their social media, the friends that they hang out with, and their associations. That's going to mean something. If they're hanging around with negative people, despite all of your efforts, that negativity may supersede all the good stuff that you've done when you were birthing them and bringing them up through elementary school and high school. Sometimes that power is just greater than what parents can provide. Please, please, please make sure that you just love on your kids, but be mindful of what they're doing how they're doing it and who they're doing it with, because that's going to make a huge difference. And don't allow them to grow up too fast. Let them be kids and you remain the parents. And I think if we continue to do that, and we have good relationships with the school, continued relationships with the school, good foundational relationships with the school, collegial relationships with the school, I think things are going to be, can be really good. Can be good, and I think they can be much, much improved than where they are currently.
There you have it. Straight from the principal at Godby High School, a concerned principal. Unscripted, straight from the heart. Mr. Coles, we appreciate you taking time with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Man, that was pretty cool.
Your attention, please. Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.com.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representation.